I want to wear these belts on June 5th.
Reality's kicking in. You ain't gonna get neither.
Devin, the Dream Haney. The dream is now a reality. At 23 years old, the Oakland native, the Vegas resident, will head back to the States with every belt there is to grab onto.
Peace, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Undisputed Spit. I'm your host, Romello Skuggs, and we have some boxing royalty guys that I know personally. First, we got one of my boxing compadres. That's my brother, Walt Dolla. And we got one of my good friends, Watch a Stringer from Goats and Rings. Check it out, YouTube. You know, he knows his boxing like he knows his football. How y'all guys doing this weekend?
We're doing well. Peace.
Same here, man. Same here. Glad we got, 3 straight weekends of solid boxing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's where the sport needs to be, man. Even if it's not every single weekend, give us at least a month or so, a couple months between big bouts. So.
Well, yeah, you got a good point, bro. I'm not complaining at all. It's been like, at least for me, it's been like 2 months of good boxing. Yeah. Gotta watch it and get some good content and get some notes, and I had a blast watching these fights. So, but want to talk about the fight last night, the main event. Well, we had 2 main events, but we had an undisputed champion. That will be Devin the Dream Haney versus George Kambosos Jr. Ferocious. Devin Haney got the unanimous decision by all 3 judges. Now he's the all 135 champion. He got all the straps. So what do you think of his performance? I'm gonna start with you, Walt Dolla.
Of Devin Haney's performance, or just the fight period?
No, just Haney's performance.
I thought his performance was real good. I mean, he was razor sharp. You know what I mean? Definitely technical fighter. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really in the fight. I thought it was a good fight. I mean, you know, it wasn't like super, but it was a good fight. Nothing happened that I didn't. I guess, you know, everybody thought that. I thought that's how the fight would play out. You know, because I mean, to beat Devin Haney or to beat a technical fighter like that kind of fighter, you got to have some power, basically. And I don't think Kambosos Jr. have enough power to like beat him, because you're not gonna hit him much. So when you do hit him, you gotta make sure you hurt him. And if you don't hurt him, then you ain't really got no chance, basically. And it just didn't like he had no chance. I thought Devin Haney won just about every round. You know, I would say it was, I think, you know, 10-2, 9-3 maybe, but it wasn't that close.
That's fair.
To me, my opinion. I thought it was a good fight, though. I mean, I'm happy for him, and I think, you know, it's more of a good fight to come because of that, though. He took a lot of risks. They're going to have to fight again, too, from my understanding.
In Russia, too. I mean, not Russia, Australia. Yeah.
Australia, but it ain't going to matter. I don't, you know, I don't really see how he can beat him. What you think, Walt?
What? Duh.
Yeah.
You're Haney guy too.
Yeah, I like Devin. He's not the most entertaining, I think, from an excitement, fireworks standpoint, but yeah, I thought Devin fought a very sharp and focused fight. You know, he knew exactly what he was going to do when he went in there. He overutilized the jab, I think, to a certain extent. Later on, around 9 or 10, to me, it looked like he was starting to physically get a little worn down. And I'm thinking that's something I've noticed with him. Like, the deeper you drown him, but the deeper you pull him into those waters, he has a tendency to start wearing down a little bit physically if you wear on. And the thing is, Kambosos wasn't even physically wearing on. You know, he just moved a lot all night. And I think Devin got a little worn down from moving all night. But yeah, he fought a great fight to me. He outboxed him. You know, he took an aggressive fighter and he controlled the range all night. And not just that no man's range where it's kind of like right outside of mid-range, but not close enough to really do any damage. He kind of kept him out of there. And we saw repeatedly Kambosos would get frustrated and he'll lunge in with something wide open. He'll get clipped by Haney. Problem is this: Devin don't clip hard enough. Mm-hmm. And I think once you talk about Devin having to fight other certain dudes, that's where we get into a whole different story.
I agree.
Well, I agree. Devin was sharp. He was very, very sharp. That sharp jab was just neutralizing anything Kambosos wanted to do. I mean, we tried to come inside. He had the jab. Haney had everything working. I'm not a big Haney fan because, to me, like Walt said, he's not entertaining. But it works. You do what works. I mean, hey, I can go to the NBA. Like, Spurs was probably the most boring team, but they the most disciplined and they win. So Haney, for understand, he had the jab, he had the footwork, he had the athleticism, he had his timing. Every time Kambosos, you feel like he was coming on a little bit, Haney's timing was just timing him and slow it down. It went like from hot to cold. It was like balance. Haney was very balanced. I had it 10-2. I thought Kambosos won let me see, when looking at my notes. Kambosos won, to me, he won the ninth and he won the fourth. He won the fourth, to me, Kambosos. But Haney, it was his night. And I respect him more because he went across the water to where he's from, hostile environment. He had his dad with him. That was a boost. And he dominated. I give it to him. So, guys, what have you learned from Haney and Kambosos? I'm gonna start with you, Watch. Doug, I'm gonna go with you.
Mental. I think more than anything else, we already knew Devin was bored into it. He's been fighting since the youngin' days. He's been around the greats since he was a youngin'. That jab is what perfectly crafted. It is what it is. It's gonna be there night in, night out, fight in, fight out. And we got the chance to see him take it. Actually, he had the courage to do it. First of all, there's a lot of fighters that wouldn't have the courage to even go over there and do that. And for him to go over there and say, you know what, I'm gonna bet on myself. I'm not gonna leave it up to the judges. I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna wipe this dude out, and I'm gonna put it up the view that, hey, you can't rob me from this. And you couldn't rob me from that last night. You know, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't sexy. It wasn't sexy at all, but you know, he did what Devin does. You know, Devin's extremely quick, man. He's extremely quick. That jab is gonna be there. He got some dog in him. He got a little size on him. He can move you around a little bit. But like I said, the problem is I'm not sure if he pops enough to beat some of the big punchers, whether it be the Ryan Garcias or even, you know, Tank for that matter.
Dollar, what you got?
My take from both fighters, I'll start with Kambosos Jr. I think, it showed that he's definitely not good with boxers. And it showed that he needs to work on the power. You know, if you're going to be the aggressor in a fight or you the person coming forward, most of the time you got to have power. I mean, that's if you come forward, you got to have some power to back that up. You can't come forward and not hurt nobody. You know, that's your fight. So I think he definitely learned that he got something to work on, you know. And to me, I thought Devin learned that he can be in there with that kind of guy. You know what I mean? But there again, I agree with Walt. It was a couple things that still kind of, you know, when you get up to the more elite fighters and you got all the belts, so you're going to be fighting the elite fighters. That stamina problem in the later part of the fight, I don't know what's up with that, but that, you know, And, you know, if you don't have that much power, you're going to have to go to the body and hit. You're going to have to do more than just the jab. I mean, you know, that worked on this kind of fighter, which, you know, normally this wouldn't work that strongly throughout a fight. You know, he was almost throwing a jab exclusively. Like, you know what I mean? And not even a 1-2 or combination with it. It was just the jab, like, you know, jab, top, jab, body. So, you know, it looked like he was playing on winning on point, period. Like, that was like the game plan somewhat. Which, you know, it's a sport. You know, you win how you win. But I agree going forward, you know, fighting the Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia or anybody of that caliber, you know, you're gonna have to bring more tools to fend them off. Because that, you know, I think Kambosos Jr. is where I thought he was, like probably number 3 or 2 or 3 in the division. You know, I didn't think he was elite. I just thought he fought Lopez, who was, you know, he doesn't have that much boxing skills to me either. He's just strong and, you know, really aggressive. And I mean, for that kind of fighter, a lot of people would beat Lopez to me. I thought Lomo didn't have enough power, couldn't keep him off of him, but I think everybody we just named would probably beat Teofimo Lopez, to me, in my opinion. What you think, Romello?
Man, both of y'all coming with heat of a take. Both of y'all. Y'all coming with heat. Now, what I learned for Kambosos, I learned that he's a good fighter, but he's not a great fighter. He's not a great fighter. And he kind of got like, I ain't gonna say he's one-dimensional, because he do got a jab, but his jab only works when he's bigger than the guy. You know what I'm saying? To his credit, before he got the Undisputed champion, we beat Lopez, he did beat a lot of people in their backyards, and he did get the win. He beat Teofimo, and he lost last night. Kambosos don't got a lot in the tank. And what I mean by that, he's a pressure fighter. His power is solid, but it's not devastating power that Tank has. You know what I'm saying? That could put your lights out. So Devin was okay. You know what I'm saying? So Kambosos, to me, again, he's a good fighter, but not a great fighter. And I saw in his workouts, he working on his speed. It wasn't effective. I just don't understand. He fought the wrong way. He tried to box a boxer. Everybody know this. We all know you can't box a boxer if you're not a boxer. You know what I'm saying? His thing, he had to make the fight ugly. He had to make the fight ugly to a boxer. He didn't do that. He was kind of conservative. He was trying to look for the fight. Yeah, he was very conservative. So, and that wasn't gonna work against Haney. Haney was this. What I learned from Haney, not much. I knew he was technical. I knew he had the jab, whatever. The one thing I did learn from him, it wasn't even adversity he was facing. When he got in trouble or when he saw trouble was coming, he'd grab immediately. You know what I'm saying? He was very disciplined. I was very impressed with him. And again, I'm not a big fan of him, but I was definitely impressed with him. And that's what I learned, his mental and his discipline. Because we already know sometimes he could be off and he could get caught. So we all know that. But yesterday, it wasn't the case. He was razor sharp. If I had to grade it, I'd give him like an A+, if I had to grade it.
Well, let me ask y'all this then. What do you think about Kambosos moving forward? Like, could this be his Mayweather-Canelo schooling moment? Because he got completely schooled by a better boxer. And he had to realize last night that, okay, even though I think if both fighters are sound, in shape, make weight, mentally there, I think Teofimo knocks him out. Because I think Teofimo is a much better fighter overall. He's stronger than Kambosos. He hits faster. His hand speed is better. I think if Teofimo's focused, he drops him. But I think Teofimo wasn't focused in that fight. No, not Haney. I think he drops Kambosos though.
That's why. Okay, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I said before the fight, I kind of felt like he not took advantage of, because he did what he was supposed to do. When you step in the ring, what happens. But Teofimo wasn't the guy that we saw before that.
No.
He obviously wasn't, so, I mean, Kambosos, I think he learned more in that loss last night than I thought he learned in that win that he had over Teofimo. So now where does he go with that? Because Devin schooled him completely. So now where do you go from there? Like, Kambosos is only 28. So, Kambosos ain't going anywhere. And if you look at it from Devin's perspective, Devin fought two tough, rugged dudes, though.
Yeah, he young too.
Yeah, Devin, he beat Linares in the tough fight. He beat another tough, rugged dude last night. And I think, Devin's showing he can withstand a little bit of punishment. He's still not going to let you touch him that much. That's the whole thing about it. So it comes down to the matchups as far as moving forward, who he matches up better with, I think.
Okay, the thing with Kambosos I didn't like. I mean, we know probably in the 7th round, he was losing. We all know this. He was losing like badly. Okay, that's when everything swings from like round 5 or 6 to the later rounds and the championship rounds, right? Haney to me doesn't have like that power, like, oh my God, like that devastating power. It's okay because he only got 15 knockouts and he got 28 wins or 27 wins, something like that. Kambosos wasn't acting like a dog, and you're at home. He wasn't acting like a dog like he was against Teofimo. That's what I wanted to see from Kambosos. Yeah. Be that dog. You know what I'm saying? Take the hit because he's a boxer. You're not gonna box him. So you gotta make it you gotta make it rough and ugly. You have to do that. And he just didn't do that. He started doing it a little bit, but it was a little too late. You gotta make it, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make it rough. You know what I'm saying? And a style like that, you gotta have a chin. You got to have a chin. And I've never seen Kambosos like rattle like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he fought Teofimo. I think Teofimo's power is more than Devin Haney's. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So, I mean, why you ain't act like a dog against him? You know what I'm saying? Not to take nothing away from him, but I'm just saying.
Something happened, man. And in the middle of fights, things can change. To me, it looked like he realized midway through that fight, damn, this dude's the truth. Like it's nothing I can't get through. And then the hand stayed so high. Mm-hmm. And I think you had it right initially when you were talking about him. He has a lack of dimensions. If we go back to how Floyd managed to beat Canelo, Floyd had way too many angles, way too many dimensions for him. Canelo stayed here. You can't fight a boxer that's great with angles and great with dimensions staying right here. And I think he stayed there too much. He stayed outside too much, and he just figured, I'm gonna eventually, and he's quick. That right hand slipped in on Devin a few times last night, just not enough. And you're absolutely right, he don't pop hard enough. So if you're gonna beat a fighter like Devin, and you don't have any pop, you're gonna have to find a way to rough him up a little bit and beat him on the scorecards. And nobody really been able to do that to him so far.
I will also add, as far as the Kambosos situation, or with my thoughts on him is, when the fighter is fighting, it's the fighter and his corner, and I feel like his corner didn't really win either, and he might have to, I know it's his dad and stuff like that, and I know it'd be tough to, leave the emotional situation in terms of your corner, but I think he need more tools. I think he a counter puncher, and that's cool, but you got to take chances, and his trainer should be telling him that, first of all, that you're losing in some kind of way, and second of all, you're gonna have to start taking chances. You know what I mean? To to me, he didn't want to get close. He should have been going to the body. Whenever you're fighting a person that's clearly quicker than you or faster than you, then you have to go that something that don't move, and that's the body. You know what I mean? You can't. I agree with you. Can't box with a boxer, but you definitely can. And Devin wasn't like he was popping the jab so much to try to keep him off of him. So you gotta take a chance, and he didn't want to take no chance. If he would have took some chances, I promise you, it would have been a different kind of fight.
Exactly.
Because I thought when he did hit Devin, it wasn't that he was rattled, but he definitely, you could tell that he felt it. Meaning that if it was a combination, it would be different. It was just like, it was one at a time though. Maybe 1, 2. But if it was 3, 4, I know that, that's like a little bit more, but it would just made a difference. I'm about sure of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Devin was tying him up. So he definitely can box with him. His trainer didn't tell him instructions what to do to get better. But you have to adjust when you fight a great fighter, period. The fight, you can't come in with the plan you come in with and expect that to still be working in rounds 9, 10, 11, 12, or championship rounds. You know what I mean? You have to adjust throughout the fight, which Devin Haney was doing. He was, not only was he throwing the jab and keeping them off of him, but he also was grappling, like you said. He was real quick. He was moving his head. He wasn't getting hit, but it wasn't just the punching. It was like he was moving and punching. And Kambosos didn't want to take no chances. Devin was taking chances because he felt like he was quick enough, which he was. So he can take, more chances. But to beat a fighter like that, you got to sacrifice yourself. That's the only way. Or you can't win. Because you can't, unless you're quicker or you can outbox him, you can't outbox a great boxer. You got to win a different way. And that's like throughout history. That's my opinion on that. Like, he had to take more chances. And if they do fight again, or when they fight again, that would be the first thing that I would expect from him as far as the change is mixing it up off the top. He can't be on the outside. You don't want to be in the middle of the ring. You're trying to get to the ropes as much as possible. Because on the ropes, that's where he would probably be king. That's my opinion.
Make it ugly. Make it ugly.
I mean, is there a chance Devin makes it worse though? I mean, Devin didn't have the opportunity to download all this information to his memory now.
True.
And I don't. The thing is, like, we've seen boxers improve over like maybe a 2 or 3 year span. It's kind of hard to really see a boxer improve over a 6-month span. Like, say they don't fight again until like early spring or something, which I don't think it would be at all. Maybe late winter. They fight late winter. How much better do we expect him to really be? Because we already know Devin's already a couple levels ahead of him. So we expect Devin to keep getting better too. Like, Devin may stop him next time.
I don't think he has to get much better. I don't think it was a skill problem. I think it was a plan problem, a strategy problem.
It's a strategy problem.
He had to take chances to win. That's the only way. Like, he wasn't willing to take the chance for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But I mean, I understand because the other guy was quicker than him. That's the reason. I mean, you're gonna get popped. You know what I mean? But you gotta be willing. Joe Frazier, Ali, you gotta be willing to take one to land one, or take 2 to land 1 in that kind of scenario, and have your guard up. So you can block 1, take 1, and you can land 1. That's why you gotta have power though. That's what I'm saying. I think if I was in Kambosos Jr. corner, I would work on the heavy bag, I will work on body work, and I will work on angle. He didn't have any angle. Like, coming, you don't have to come in just directly coming in, but you have to have angles and darting in. He wasn't on offense that much.
And
he was coming straight forward. And he wasn't ready for the offense. He wasn't prepared to be on offense. That's how I look. He wanted the counter, and you ain't gonna be able to counter Devin Haney or Shakur Stevens, none of those kind of boxes. You ain't gonna be able to counter them. You gotta come with another plan. That's not gonna work, in my opinion. Because
them guys you just said, like Haney and Shakur, I always said on just about every episode, you got to have distance. if your distance is in place, you got to do something to break the distance. Do something. And when you just said that, to break the distance, you got to take the chance. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like crossing the street and the car is coming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, either you're gonna run or not getting hit or whatever, or you're gonna wait for the car. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take that chance. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for the car to go by. Then the car wins, right? That's the same thing with boxing. When the boxer's distance is in place, when it's effective too, you the brawler or whatever style you are, you gotta come break that distance, and you gotta take that chance. If you get hit, okay, that's why I say you gotta have a chin in order to make for a boxer. You gotta have a chin because you gotta go in and you gotta do some digging. We already know Kambosos is not a boxer or pure boxer like Haney and Shakur and all that. He's more of a aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
he's a good boxer though. He's a good boxer.
I mean, yeah, he's solid, but he's not pure. He's not great.
Right.
As Haney is. He's not great. He's good, but not great. That's what I mean by him. So he do gotta take the risk. So, but moving forward, Haney got all the straps. 135. I know there's a lot of belts out there. He got the franchise belt, and Tank got a WBA belt. It's so many belts out here. I was discussing that with K Will, the regular host on Undisputed Spit, about so many belts. I don't know who's who or what's what or whatever, but Haney got some straps now, right? A lot of them. So what is next for him? Who's the opponent? Who that he should be fighting? I'm gonna start with you, Doug.
And this is Undisputed Spit. You dig?
I'd buy that for $1.